I'm Dr. Burton-Teed, and I've got some tips for you today to help you avoid what we call the October slide. Have you ever noticed that your symptoms seem to get worse every fall? More fatigue, brain fog, flares, just kind of a general sense that you're not feeling as well. That's what a lot of people with chronic illness, mast cell activation syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos, hypermobility disorders, autoimmunity, all kinds of people that kind of cope with this. And it's basically, it's the October slide because it happens in the autumn when temperature drops, barometric pressure shifts, sunlight decreases, and your body has to kind of work harder to stay regulated. We've got different and new moulds and allergens in the air. So there are a lot of kind of things that your body has to cope with quite suddenly. So these changes can impact your blood flow, your neurotransmitters, hormones. They can worsen conditions like mast cell activation syndrome, POTS, dysautonomia. So why it happens, the cooler temperature, all the things we've just discussed are having an impact. Really, ultimately, that your nervous system kind of ends up riding this roller coaster. So how do we create a little more stability? So first, I like everybody to, at this time of year, our vitamin D levels drop. So aiming to supplement with at least 2,000 IUs a day in the winter. If you've got darker skin, more melanin in your skin, you might need more. It's important to get that tested with your GP. So ask them to do a 25 hydroxy vitamin D test. We also want to hydrate well because part of the issue we're dealing with, blood sugar or blood pressure rather, can fluctuate as our nervous system kind of fluctuates and is dealing with the hot, the cold, the histamine release from these changes. The barometric pressure can cause these shifts in the body. So hydrating well not only helps keep your blood pressure more stable, it also just improves your circulation generally. It makes your circulation less sluggish, more kind of slick. Getting outside early in the day to support your circadian rhythm so that your sleep pattern stays nice and normal. The earlier you start getting sunlight, the more your brain kind of registers that we do have some sun, and it understands when to start pumping out the melatonin to help you go to sleep in the evening. And just generally rest. This time of year, it's not a time to kind of push through it. It's a time to support your body and listen to your body. I also like people to focus on good sleep hygiene, so paying attention to when you're turning your screens off and getting out of that kind of blue light is really important. Overall, reducing your histamine load. So as we said, there will be environmental triggers for some people with allergens and molds at this time of year. Those are harder to deal with because we have to go out in the world. But in your indoor environment, you can have air purifiers, kind of cleaning pillowcases very regularly for people with dust mite allergies, or any airborne allergies that could settle on pillowcases and bedding. Foods, avoiding known trigger foods for you. Your body is already dealing with all of these other changes. A food that you can eat in the summer, you might not be able to tolerate at this time of year because your histamine bucket is already too full. So just being mindful of, chocolate and fish and leftovers and collagen, the foods that kind of naturally have a lot of collagen or a lot of histamine in them. Being careful to find histamine-free versions and don't have your leftovers sitting in the fridge, freeze them right away. Doing the little techniques that we know help reduce the histamine load in food. Just temperature is another one. Keeping yourself the temperature that you need to feel comfortable. For me, I have to keep myself warm. So layers are important. I rarely get too hot, so I don't need to be ready to strip off, but I need to have the ability to layer up and stay warm. For some people, heat is more of a trigger, so just being mindful that what your trigger is, tuning into your body and listening to what you need. And then blood sugar, balancing your blood sugar. So we don't want meals that are all carbs, because our blood sugar goes up and then crashes down, and then insulin comes out and creates kind of a hormonal storm in the body. We want stability all across the board. If there's one word you take from this, you want to keep yourself stable. That's good, stable sleep, not super late nights, followed by early mornings, followed by other days where you're sleeping odd hours. Stable sleep pattern, stable meals full of protein, fiber, and healthy fats to keep that blood sugar balanced. Stable body temperature. And the other thing, we need to move. So for some of my patients, they're not doing as well and they can't move as much. So I'm not saying you have to have a rigorous exercise regime, but getting up and walking around, having a little go with an exercise bike, 5 minutes here and there throughout the day. Rowing machines are quite good for people with any kind of dysautonomia or issues with their blood sugar, or positional orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, so that you keep yourself on a baseline and you're not having to deal with the up and down, the change in the postural changes to trigger instability. Again, there's that word, stability, and you trigger instability in blood pressure. So focusing on stability and all the things that we know: good sleep, good movement, good food. We can't control the weather, but you can support your body through it. And these few adjustments can make a big difference. Good luck.